Yo, what's going on guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I figured it was time to give you guys a full update on Project Cefiro. It has been probably the most requested video in all the comments that I've been putting up in my last few videos, my Instagram account, and I figured today would be the day that I give you guys a full update about what's going on with the car. But before I give you guys a full update, I think it's important that I give you guys a tour or a walk around of the car, because honestly, I don't think I've ever given you guys a thorough update of what's been done to the car since we've done the motor swap, since we've done the turbo swap, etc, etc. So today I think I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what's new with Project Cefiro. So in case you guys are new to the channel, this is a 1991 Nissan Cefiro with an RB20 DET from a Nissan Skyline R32. I actually bought this car here in Malaysia about 2.5 years ago with the intention of building the whole thing on the channel. I mean, that was the whole purpose of getting the car. However, some of those plans have changed due to the whole COVID situation, due to quarantine, due to not being able to bring in the parts cheap enough. It's just been a whole mission, and unfortunately, the car hasn't really had a whole lot done to it. But I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys some of the things that I have done to it, including the motor swap here in a second. But first, let's go ahead and walk around the car. I'll show you guys what it looks like. And there you go. We have the projector lights with the SE grille. Now this actually all came with the car. I think this is an SE bumper, I'm not quite sure. The SE model is basically the luxury edition, and it came with the car with this like cheap kind of wrap job done on the front bumper. I don't know why they did it like this, but they did. Maybe they were just looking for like a quick way to make it look nice. But that was something that came with the car like that. And it's got a few scuffs and bruises from when the previous owner had the car. I mean, I really haven't driven it too often, to be honest. But overall, the body's in really, really good shape. Doesn't really have any damage to it. I mean, it has light scratches. I don't know, let me see if I can lower the exposure here so you guys can see it a little better. You can see it's got some scuffs and scratches and stuff from, I guess, when the guys were working on it before. And then the one thing I really don't particularly care about are these wheels. I'm not a big fan of them, but whatever, they came with the car. The funny thing is they all say Japan design. I don't really know where the design came from or the influence, but whatever. The only thing that really stinks about these wheels is that they're 15s, and from the factory, the wheels are supposed to be 16-inch. So it's kind of a bummer. Kind of limits your options a little bit as far as tires go, but I mean, that was one of the next plans anyway, was to do like a 5-lug swap and change that all out, but overall, body's not in too bad a shape. Something that's quite interesting about the Cefiros here in Malaysia is they all come with these numbers here. Now these numbers actually match the license plate, as you guys can see down here. Now something else that I thought was quite interesting is that every single glass has that etching in it. Now the cool thing about that is that if the car had ever been in a wreck, or like a really bad wreck, obviously they wouldn't be able to match up those numbers. So they have it on the front windshield, they have it on all these rear quarter panels. Now they don't have it on the side mirrors here, or the side windows, not mirrors, but these do have the Nissan logo etched into it. I don't know if you guys can see it or not on the camera. Somewhere in there. Yeah, take my word for it. But that was a really good sign to know the car hasn't been in a major wreck too. And then the only real damage that the thing has, it's got this nice little golf ball sized dent right here. Let's see if I can lower the exposure here. There you go, now you can kind of see it better. It's got this little dent here, but other than that, the car is actually in really, really good shape. Let's see, what else can I show you? And of course it's got some scuffs back here. Again, that's not really that big of a deal because the plan was to swap this out with like a car modify wonder kit or something. I haven't quite decided yet. But the other cool thing about this car that I got done recently was this HKS Super Dragger exhaust. Now, this HKS Super Dragger exhaust actually comes from a B&R 32 Skyline. I brought this in from Japan because sweet exhaust. And if you guys go backwards a few videos, you guys can find some sound clips of me driving the car and my wife getting her reaction to it, but it's quite cool. I like it. I had a shop over here called Everco do this sweet exhaust setup. It's kind of hard to see it, but it's back there. It's got some nice TIG wells, custom made. It's made it up to a cat delete pipe, and then it's got a HKS downpipe that I had also brought in from Japan for an R32, and yeah, it's not too bad. Now, it also has these old school taillights. Personally, I'm not a fan of these lights, but I know a lot of people are. I'm kind of surprised, to be honest. I thought they look a little outdated, but I mean, if you're going for that retro look, it's definitely a cool look, but it's just not for me. I had a set of Series 2 tail lights that I was gonna put on it, but I ended up just selling them. And then, let's see, what else? that's not too bad. I mean, that's pretty much it for the outside of the car. I think the car has been painted because normally these are supposed to be like a black look or like a like a flat black or something like that. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the outside of the car. Let's go ahead and take a look on the inside. So looking on the inside here, you can see that these Cefiros come with these really plush looking seats. I mean, these are probably the most comfortable chairs I've ever had in any one of my cars. They're very comfortable, and then the passenger one's even better, to be honest. I mean, you can see that the bolster is a little bit different. It's a little deeper on that one, and it's got more adjustment for the passenger. So obviously when they designed this car, they designed it with the passenger in mind, knowing that this is gonna not just be for the driver's experience, but for the passenger as well. And then, as you guys can see, I also did a manual swap on the car. Now, I kind of got this makeshift knockoff knob here. I mean, I had a Gretty knob on it, but I took it off, and you'll understand why later on in the video. But I ended up putting on this one just for now, and it's also got this kind of like janky interior. This part actually is in perfect condition, to be honest. This one came in from Japan, and obviously the condition of it is like perfect. I mean, there's not even any rips or anything on the emergency brake boot. And then the shifter, I actually had it sandblasted, powder coated, and then they also did this flocking on it to give it some nice texture, because the original grip on it wasn't the best. But whatever, I like it. It actually feels pretty good. I didn't really think I was gonna like it as much, but it actually is pretty nice. So it's got this kind of like janky interior radial bezel and shifter surround bezel. I mean, there wasn't really anything I could do about this, unfortunately. Finding a manual one in perfect condition for this car is like next to impossible. And then, like I said, this one's kind of like janky a little bit. I had plans to do something with this. Again, you'll know why in the very end of the video here, why I kind of put this one back in the car, but it was just something cheap that I could find. It doesn't have a radio either. It does have the cup holders though, which is kind of cool. So let's see, I can pull these things out, and then it's got the little thing right here to put your cups in. It's got one smaller, one bigger. So yeah, I wouldn't really trust it, to be honest. So the dashboard itself is obviously an A31 dashboard. If you guys have been following the channel for a long time, you would know that I have a C33 dash as well. And I even have the upgraded interior from the later model Cefiros that come with like this sleeker looking design. Unfortunately, it's only automatic, but I have some ideas to make it work with this one. So anyway, we'll get more into that later on. AC works, which is really, really nice. I'll show you guys here in a second. Obviously you can't feel it, but you can see that it does work. The only thing that really stinks about this dash is it's got a little crack over here. Not that big a deal, to be honest. I mean, it's in the top left corner. To be honest, these dashes crack pretty bad. Obviously, like 180SXs, Silvias, and other cars that kind of came out in this time frame, they came out with this like cheap plastic, and it cracks or it deforms. This one actually held up pretty okay. I mean, you can see over here, this is a pretty common issue with Cefiros, that they separate from the vent over here, but at least everything works. I mean, that's the most important thing. Everything aesthetically looks okay. And then the other funny thing about these dashboards is these little vents here, they ended up actually melting over time. And these are in perfect condition. I ended up bringing those in from Thailand. So I mean, honestly, a lot of these parts have either been brought in from Thailand or from Japan or other places like that. Everything else is pretty much standard in here. Nothing really too fancy to look at. Here's the lights, etc., etc. But the thing I like about this car is that the interior is complete. It's super, super clean. I mean, you can see that the person before me really did take care of it. I don't think it had many owners before I had it. I'll show you the back seat here. And you can tell, I mean, the car's been sitting for most of its life in a garage when I bought it. I mean, the car had been sitting for probably about 4 or 5 years, and I ended up picking it up and rescuing it, to be honest. So yeah, the car's in really, really good shape. I mean, the door handles, this is a common issue with these Cefiros. I think this happens to the R32s as well. I'm not quite sure, because they actually share a lot of the same features. But these things always tend to fade. I don't know why. I guess it's the oils in our hands, maybe. Who knows? But let's go ahead and pop the trunk. So just like every other Nissan, it's got this little pull handle. And then we come to the back. And then we can see that I got really lucky, to be honest, because normally these Cefiros are missing a lot of these panels. You can see this one's actually really, really clean. It's got all the panels in the back here. Something I thought was kind of interesting is that they even include all the cabling for all the accessories, like if you want to add the wipers, or if you want to add like this third brake light they sometimes come with, they have it available for you. And then if we look over here, you can see we have some power steering fluid. The car does leak some power steering fluid. I'll get into that here in a second, but always keep a bottle of it on hand just in case, you never know. And then, I mean, it's all pretty standard. We can look under here. It's got the spare tire underneath this one. And then super, super clean underneath. I mean, this thing was well looked after. All right, we can go ahead and take a look under the hood now. I think that's what a lot of you guys really want to see. So we go ahead and grab this awesome bamboo stick. I don't have a hood prop for it, and the shocks on these cars, they're pretty worn out. The hood struts, that's a pretty common issue as well with these. But we have an RB20 DET from an R32 Skyline. Let me go ahead and stick this guy right here. Yeah, fancy, right? So, as I was saying, we have an RB20 DET from a Nissan Skyline R32. I think I've probably replaced every single hose, vacuum line, water line, fuel line from this engine. It is insane how many hoses I changed on this car. As you can see, every radiator hose is brand new. Every single clamp is brand new. It was something that kept me busy, quite busy really, during the quarantine time, and I enjoyed it. I really, really did enjoy it. I mean, even these vacuum hoses, water lines over here, everything is brand new. I bought it all from Nissan, brought it all in, and I mean, that's pretty much what I did during quarantine. I just tinkered with the car and got it up to speed. I took all these pipes off, intake manifold, throttle body, the IAC valve, everything has either been powder coated, well, sandblasted, vapor blasted, powder coated. I mean, I went above and beyond to try to get this car up to speed. I mean, even down here, I took all the exhaust manifold shields off, had those sent off and blasted and powder coated, and then it has a aftermarket elbow down here. Let's see if I can get you guys to see that one. It's hard to see. I got that from a buddy of mine in Thailand who's got a really sick Cefiro. What else do we have here? Even the brackets, I had them powder coated, zinc coated. I mean, everything has been powder coated here, zinc coated. Everything is practically brand new in this car. Even the oil dipstick I bought from Japan had it all replaced. I mean, I don't know. I really wanted this car to be perfect. I wanted it to run perfect. And to be honest, I'm very happy with the way it came out. OEM blow-off valve. So if you guys remember, I had a Greddy Type S in the car, and I absolutely love that blow-off valve, but I ended up taking it off for a specific reason. And again, I'll get into that here in just a minute. So let me show you guys one last thing. The car does have fully functioning air conditioning. I ended up replacing one of the lines here. One of the lines down there is brand new actually to fit. You can kind of see it down there. About right there. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see it on camera, but it's down there. It's got a brand new line with brand new fittings. The dryer is brand new. I mean, the motor, aside from changing out this part and the valve covers itself, or the rocker covers, whatever you want to call it, it's all brand new. I really couldn't be happier with it. R&R did all the wiring for the car. It's a really famous shop here in Malaysia who's done a lot of different wiring harnesses for a lot of big cars, even abroad. I think they've done cars in the United States. They've done cars in Ireland. I mean, it's just a really nice shop. They did their stuff. Another thing that I did that I thought was a really cool idea, some people here in Malaysia don't think it's such a cool idea, obviously because it's not really necessary, was I reinstalled the heater system in the car. Now, originally these cars come with like some block off plates and all the hoses and everything down there all blocked off because here in Malaysia you really don't need a heating system. It just doesn't get cold. I mean, unless you go up to Genting Highlands up there in the mountains somewhere, or you know, somewhere along those lines, you don't really need it. However, I was gonna export the car to the United States somewhere where it could potentially be cold, and I didn't want to have to deal with it. So I took care of it. All of the heating system is brand new. Every hose, every clamp, every connector, everything is brand spanking new. Even had the fuel reel powder coated. All of the hardware is brand new. The injectors were balanced and cleaned before they were installed. All the seals are brand new. I mean, even the TPS sensor is brand new. The cold start valve, I think it's the cold start valve. One of the valves down there is all brand new. I don't know. I spent probably way too much money on making this motor brand new. All right, so enough of me talking. Let's go ahead and crank it up so you guys can hear it. Now, the cool thing about this car is it actually comes with this really sweet decorative key, which has Cefiro written on it. And that's something that was really unique to the 90s JDM cars back in the day. Like the 180SX has one that says, I think 180SX. Sylvia for sure has one that says Sylvia. I thought that was really cool. The Laurel key, the C33 Laurel, they have one that looks similar to this, except it's silver and has a big L in the middle. Super, super cool car. But anyway, let's go ahead and turn it on so you guys can hear how it sounds. There we go, idling up. And then then we got the boost control. Oh, I forgot we have a boost gauge in here, an HKS boost gauge. You can see it turns on, everything sounds good there. Come over to the engine. It's super quiet. I mean, that's one thing I really liked about this motor, is that it's actually very quiet. We'll come around to the exhaust real quick. And you can see that it just like purrs. It's not loud at all. I'll go ahead and set it down here. I'll give you guys a little rev or so here. Can't rev it up too loudly because we're in apartment area, so. There we go. Now you guys heard it. It sounds pretty nice. Like, I really love the way it sounds. It's so quiet. I didn't want something loud and obnoxious because I'm an old man. I can't run around here in Monkiara and all over Kuala Lumpur and like this super loud car, although there are people that do. All right, let's go ahead and button it up. It's starting to sprinkle a little bit. I'm imagining it's gonna rain, but I wanna go ahead and close it up. We'll go for a drive, and so you guys can hear the car a little bit. I don't know how much you're gonna hear from it while it's driving, but we'll do our best. All right, so we're leaving the Monkiara area now. I'm gonna see if I can give the car a little bit of gas. Here in the Monkiara area, it's a very popular area, so it's always busy and there's always a lot of people and a ton of speed bumps. So not the most ideal place if you wanna really show off your turbo, but we're gonna see if we can open it up a little bit. There's a nice little tunnel here. I mean, there really isn't a lot to be able to hear, to be honest, because like I said, the car itself is very quiet. And since I took the blow-off valve off, there really isn't much else to hear. But we're gonna see if we can hear the turbo spool. So let's see. We're coming around this little bend here. We'll see, there's a couple trucks in front of me. There you go, it was a little bit there, a little sneak peek. I really can't give it too much gas. There's a few trucks that are sitting here in front of me and I'm not trying to wreck the car, so we'll see if we can bring it around a little bit, give it some more gas. But answering some of your questions, what are the plans with the Cefiro? What was I planning to do to the Cefiro? What am I doing with the Cefiro? So, going back to what I was talking about earlier in the video, my original plan with the car when I bought the car was to start a project here on YouTube. I wanted to share something with you guys, an experience with you guys. I wanted to show off kind of some of my skills that I could do and that you guys can do on your own. You don't always have to go to a garage to have somebody do the work for you. I mean, I did an entire engine swap without one air tool, no drill, I mean, no impact wrench, nothing like that at all. I mean, I did it all with hand tools and of course a friend that helped me out, my friend Dave. Now, my original plan with the car was to do an RB25 DET engine swap on it, but it just didn't pan out. With the way the finances were working out, I didn't really have the funds to do it, so I decided, you know what, let me go ahead and just go with an RB20. I could always later go down the road of getting an RB25 Neo and throwing that in the car. I mean, that's a pretty common swap for these cars. However, it just didn't work out the way. So then my next plan was to do an SR20 from an S15. But over here in Malaysia, SR20 engines they're ridiculously expensive, and I didn't have the money for that either. So again, like I said, I just went with the next best option, which was the RB20. So it all worked out. I mean, you still get a nice little sound. The RB20 sounds really nice when it's opening up. I had a lot of compliments from friends who own RB25s. Now, the one big difference is obviously it doesn't have the same power as an RB25. So the next thing I did was I threw an RB25 Neo turbo in it from an R34 Skyline GTT. That really helped the engine open up, but I mean, it's not like this huge difference. I mean, it is faster. It holds up at 0.4 bar, and it flows nicely. If you really want to upgrade that, you can go with an RB20 actuator on the RB25 turbo and get 0.7 bar boost. But I didn't care, honestly. This is more of like a fun, comfortable car. I'm not out here drifting the car. And it's not a show car right now or anything like that. It's just a nice, comfortable car that's reliable. And like I said, everything under the hood is brand new for the most part. So it just fit what I wanted. So, I mean, that was the original plan with the car. Now, then, obviously my stay here in Malaysia is temporary. I'm not here forever. And I wanted to bring the car back with me to the United States because the car does fit the 25-year rule where you can import a car to the United States as long as it's 25 years or older. And being that this is a 91, it definitely qualifies. So that wasn't an issue. The issue, though, has been finding an export broker that works with Malaysia. That works with the United States, I should say. And that's not been easy. I've been looking, I've been trying to find somebody, and I haven't been able to find anybody. So unfortunately, that didn't pan out either. And at the end of the day, I kind of had to cut my losses. So if you guys saw my last video, you guys would have seen that I do have a baby coming along the way, and I finally decided I'm just gonna go ahead and sell the Cefiro. I wanted to keep the car, and I wanted to bring it back home with me, but at the same time, I have too many costs and expenses at the moment to where it's really feasible to keep the car. Wait, hold on. We're on a nice little straightaway. I think you guys might have heard it that time. Nice and comfortable. So anyway, we have the baby coming along the way, and I wanted to go ahead and just sell the car and just kind of focus on Project Baby. I think that's the most important thing right now. I can always get another Cefiro, and in fact, that is actually one of my plans. When I go back to the United States at some point, I can actually import a Cefiro from Japan with no problem. And it would actually cost me roughly about the same price as if I were to try to go through all the hassles and everything and the headaches of trying to export this one, which in this case, I haven't found anybody to be able to help me do that. So, like I said, I've kind of decided to go ahead and cut my losses and sell Project Cefiro. So if you guys are interested in buying the car, if you know somebody that's interested in buying the car, hit me up on my Instagram. I'll go ahead and leave it down here again, and you guys can message me. I'm more than happy to show off the car. I have all the paperwork, receipts, everything for this car that you can imagine. And I mean, you guys that are watching the channel, you know how much care and love that I put into this car. So it kind of hurts me to sell the car because I put so much time and effort into it. But at the end of the day, I got to make smart decisions, and right now focusing on Project Baby and Evelyn are right now the most important decisions that I need to make. That's it, guys. You know, I wanted to go ahead and share with you what the plan is for Project Cefiro, and I'm probably sure that it's not the news that you guys were hoping or expecting to hear, but that doesn't mean that we're giving up on a Project Cefiro, because like I said, I'm still planning on buying one, and I actually found a specific one in Japan that I'm looking at to export to the United States at some point. I've been talking to the broker already, and I think I might have gotten a deal set up to where I can make it happen. However, it's gonna be a few months from now, because obviously right now we're here in Malaysia, we're not in the United States, so that's gonna take some time to work itself out. But I've got things lined up, and I am planning on keeping some of the parts from this project, which is also why I kept the blow-off valve. I'm thinking of taking off the HKS exhaust and putting the OEM exhaust back on the car, and then shipping that back to the United States as well, because it's something that's very unique. It's hard, you can't find an HKS Super Dragger in mint condition like the one that I found, let alone all the custom work that it was done to make it fit this chassis. And also the HKS downpipe is discontinued, and you know, there's just a lot of really cool and unique parts that I want to keep for the project, well, for the next project. But I have something else in mind planned, because there will be more car content coming up on the car, I do promise you that, or on the channel, I do promise you that, because cars are my passion, cars are part of my life. Evelyn's accepted it, even though she doesn't really like it as much, but she's grown to accept it, and I hope you guys will stick around for the journey. I do plan on doing a lot more content, and I do have another video planned in mind with the Cefiro, so stick around for that one. But that's it, guys. I hope you really enjoyed the walkthrough of the car. I hope you enjoyed seeing all the different things that I've done to the car or what I've changed, and maybe that will inspire some of you guys to build a Cefiro of your own. And if you do, again, let me know on Instagram. I will happily follow you guys back. I love seeing all the different Cefiro builds. That's one of my favorite parts about working on cars, is like meeting really cool people. I mean, that's how I met Dave. That's how I met some other guys out there that I've worked with and done other car stuff with. So be sure to hit me up. I'm always excited to meet you guys. And that's it. I mean, I don't plan on putting the car up for sale today. So like I said, if you know anybody or if you're interested in your own, let me know. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you later. Peace.